Hello. We're going to get started here in about 1 minute. If you cannot hear me, shoot me a message in the questions box. Hopefully you can, and we'll get started here in just a second. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started for tonight. Welcome to Club Secretary Education. My name is Meredith Taylor, and I'm the Education and Training Specialist at Kiwanis International. Today, I'm going to walk you through your roles and responsibilities to prepare you for your upcoming role as a club secretary. Thank you for making this commitment, and thank you for being a leader in your club. Today, we're going to discuss the following topics: your job description, online reporting, the required forms, and some important dates you need to be made aware of. We're also going to go over the basics of the organization and some resources that are available to you. A few housekeeping notes. If you have insights or examples to share with your peers, or you have questions throughout the training, please use the question feature on the right-hand side. Due to the large number of attendees, it doesn't make sense logistically for us to all try to chime in with our microphones. So this will be the easiest way to kind of keep things flowing and keep an open line of communication, which really will be great. And anytime that you submit a question, it will pop up on my screen. So if I can't answer it now, we will have some time at the end to go over some questions. Another thing to mention, Kiwanis released a new leadership guide this year. I am really happy to share this with you and show it to you, and for us to get to talk about it a little bit today. You are able to download a copy at kiwanis.org/leadership guide, or if you go to the handouts tab, you can click on leadership guide and it will download a copy for you to view as well. You absolutely do not need to have it tonight for this training. Anything that I refer to, I'll either show you on the screen, or it's not actually necessary for the training right now, which is great. These books were shipped to your district pre-COVID, so obviously some things have changed, and we haven't gotten them distributed to everybody, but just I ask for your patience as each district is working through getting these submitted or getting these processed and out to you guys as quickly as they possibly can. I know when we kind of changed how we do shipping this year, no one anticipated a global pandemic. So thank you, I appreciate it. And one other thing to note, as many of you probably know, Kiwanis International is headquartered here in Indianapolis. I live just north of Indianapolis, and we are under the threat of some severe weather. So if for some reason I fall off the face of the earth and am disconnected, I will do my best to get on as quickly as possible. As you can see right now, it's bright, but it is very windy and kind of dark outside. So hopefully things will pass. It looks like they might, but if they don't, just a fair warning. So we'll go ahead and get started. And our goal for today is that for new secretaries, that you understand your roles and responsibilities and that you're able to use the online tools and some of the additional resources that we make available to you, just so your job makes more sense and it is a little bit simpler. For our existing secretaries, our goal is that you'll be able to utilize some of the new features in the club management system, hear about some of the new information from KI, and implement some best practices. So before we dig too deep, let's take a moment and listen to a message from International President-elect Art Riley.
Thank you for stepping up to become a leader in Kiwanis. Your leadership not only makes a difference to club members, it makes a difference in the lives of children across the world. As you take on your new role, I hope you will take advantage of all the online modules and classroom learning that has been developed for you. We've worked hard to make sure you have what you need. I also hope you will take advantage of the strong mentors, coaches, and Kiwanians who surround you, and will encourage them to mentor and develop strong leaders in our clubs and districts. The future of Kiwanis and our dedication to the world's children depends on our ability to inspire and lift one another up so we can deliver our best to those who entrusted us to lead. I look forward to working with passionate, dedicated, and well-trained leaders this year in Kiwanis. Kids need Kiwanis, and Kiwanis needs you.
As you can see, next year is going to be great, and we're really excited that you've made the commitment to be part of it. Oops. So what are your expectations today? If you're comfortable, please share them with our group using the question feature, and I'll be happy to read them aloud so that we can all hear them. I'll do our best to make sure that we cover as much as possible. But if you would like, please feel free to share what you want to get out of today's training. Stan says to learn something I did not know. Tracy says to learn about required documents. What are they and when are they due? Susan wants to know about how to use the dashboard completely. That will most definitely be covered. These are great. Sue says, just to bring up my secretary knowledge. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. Emily's excited to learn the technical skills to best help my club, not hurt, I apologize. I'm from a young professionals club and I want to know how to best communicate with other Kiwanis branches. That's great. Joseph was appointed last year in the middle of the year and didn't get any training and wants to learn how to do the reports correctly. Well, these are all great. I'll be sure to talk about most of these things, let you know what's new, what's changed, so that you can be successful next year. So my expectation for today is that you're going to leave this training with a very strong foundational understanding of what your roles and responsibilities are as a club secretary. And I hope that you also feel like you have the tools to be successful. We'll have two measurable parameters to determine your success. First will be your usage of the online club management system, and second will be the submission of your club scheduled reports, like your monthly club report, your annual report, and your election report. To really understand your role and responsibilities, you'll need to have a better understanding of our organization overall. So what is Kiwanis? We're a global community of clubs and members and partners who are dedicated to improving the lives of children, one community at a time. And today we're more than 550,000 members strong, from K-Kids to Kiwanis, in more than 80 countries around the globe. And for more than a century, Kiwanis has created opportunities for children to be curious, safe, and healthy, regardless of the community in which they live. Our motto is serving the children of the world, and whether you're a 55-year-plus Kiwanian or an incoming charter secretary, you're most likely familiar with our motto. We also have a defining statement and a vision statement for our organization that really sets the focus of what we want to accomplish. When you look at our defining statement and our vision statement, it really encompasses what we do as Kiwanians. We're generous with our time, we're creative with our ideas, and we're passionate about making a difference. And importantly, we have a lot of fun along the way. We also have 6 objects in which our organization was founded. These guide our organization as our values, they're our beliefs, and they really make up our core. These were approved nearly 100 years ago at the 1924 Kiwanis International Convention and have not changed since their initial inception. Take a moment to read through the first 3 objects. Here are the second half of the objects. Kiwanis International also has a strategic plan. This is what guides our organization to accomplish our goals. The newest iteration of our strategic plan was approved by the Board of Trustees in October of 2019. Our strategic plan is based on 5 pillars. membership and engagement, which is arguably the most important, since without engaged members, our organization would cease to exist. Leadership and education, which is our newest pillar, focuses on developing competent and capable and caring leaders across the entire Kiwanis family. We have community impact, which focuses on meaningful service with service to children as our #1 priority. Branding and image works to promote the Kiwanis image and brand worldwide, and financial viability works to ensure our financial viability as an organization and responsible stewardship for years to come. KI strategic plan guides each club to create and update their own plans and choose their own paths towards accomplishing common goals within those 5 priorities. Your club should have a strategic plan, and it's important to revisit and revise it over time. But this is not something that should be left to one person. It's a group effort. Your club officers, board of directors, and a few committed members should form a group to work together and create a strategic plan that will set your club up to thrive for years to come. Use those same 5 pillars as the basis for your club's strategic plan. Develop strategies and a plan of attack for each of the pillars. This template is available in your leadership guide on pages 6 and 7. You can also download it from kiwanis.org/leadership guide, or you can create your own. As the club leader, you also are a huge partner to the Kiwanis Children's Fund. You'll be supported by a Children's Fund District Chair. These chairs are passionate advocates of their mission and are constant communicators of their core values. They are there to help you succeed. As you can see, there are 3 types of foundations. Your club may have a foundation which is focused typically on local or club needs. Your district has a foundation focused on regional priorities. And the Kiwanis Children's Fund focuses on projects that benefit from the collective support of Kiwanians worldwide. The Children's Fund is exceptionally grateful for the support of Kiwanians. Your generosity helps reach many children in many places in many different ways. Kids need Kiwanis, and the Children's Fund helps you reach them. It amplifies your impact to communities around the globe. The Children's Fund also provides grants for service leadership programs, club and district service projects, disaster relief, and the elimination of MNT and IDD. The role of the Children's Fund is similar to that of any other community foundation. They raise funds from the community so Kiwanians like you and me grant them to projects that Kiwanians are passionate about. They also provide services to our donors and resources to nonprofit organizations within the Kiwaniverse. The Children's Fund is also here to be a resource for you and for your club. As club secretary, they are a great resource for you, especially if you're looking for speakers or presentations for your club meetings, whether they can arrange for a volunteer or for a staff member to present to your club virtually or in person, walk you through the grant programs available from Kiwanis, help you with your club foundation or starting one, and just general fundraising initiatives. Those of you who've been in Kiwanis a little bit longer are probably more familiar with the Eliminate project. As of today, maternal and neonatal tetanus has been eliminated in 27 countries since Kiwanis joined UNICEF back in 2010. Nearly $87 million has been raised to fight MNT. Kiwanis will continue working towards the elimination of maternal and neonatal tetanus for years to come. And your continued support is critical to fulfilling the pledges made by many clubs and individuals. Kiwanis has been sponsoring youth programs since the first Key Club was chartered in 1925. Since then, other programs have been added and experienced tremendous growth. SLPs have become core projects for many sponsoring Kiwanis clubs. We have 5 different service clubs: K-Kids for elementary school, Builders Club for middle school, Key Club for high school, Circle K for college students, and Action Club for candy-capable adults. We also have 3 programs and initiatives: Key Leader, Bring Up Grades, and Terrific Kids. Most often, SLPs are sponsored by Kiwanis clubs or another civic organization. As the sponsoring club, your role spans from initiating the organization of the club, working with school officials, and providing counseling and assistance for members. We've taken a minute to talk about kind of the big picture of what Kiwanis looks like, but it's time to focus on you and what your job is. Your diligence and passion inspired your fellow Kiwanians to give you one of your club's most important jobs. By maintaining accurate club and membership records, keeping official meeting minutes, and making connections in the community, you will keep your club informed and engaged. The information you submit will reflect the relative health and vibrancy of your club. Your club's leadership team will be stronger and more efficient thanks to your communication skills and your attention to detail. We'll look at your job in 3 parts: your responsibilities, your qualifications, and your duties. Oftentimes, a club secretary is the glue that holds everything together. The secretary's job involves a variety of administrative tasks. Some will repeat monthly, while others will occur annually or just occasionally. But once you get the hang of it, the process will seem simple. Your job is to ensure that your club operations runs effectively. You'll manage many of the details and make your club experience great. You work closely with the president and the board of directors, and you'll be responsible for the management of all club records, including minutes and attendance at all club and board meetings. As an officer and a member of the board of directors, you can participate in all board discussions and vote on any question put to vote by the presiding officer. You will also work with the online club management system to submit reports during your term. As a secretary, there are files that you are responsible for maintaining, including all correspondence, district and international convention information, and documents and communications relating to your SLPs. There are also permanent files for you to maintain that need to be passed on to the succeeding secretary or your club's custodian of permanent records. A complete list of permanent files is listed here. Kiwanis International's online reporting system tracks many of the permanent records for your club, but the system was introduced just in recent years. Be sure that you have the last 7 years of records in your files, either electronically or in print. For a complete list, you can look at page 33 in your leadership guide if you have it, or you can check it out online as well. Some basic qualifications for being a club secretary include being willing to use the online reporting, being attentive to detail and organized, being respectful of deadlines, and being able to discern and summarize key action items from meetings. Remember that you are also a walking advertisement for your club. Lead by example within your community and within your club to maximize your impact. Oops. A complete list of duties is listed on page 32 of the leadership guide. However, these are 4 worth noting. You'll need to maintain accurate club and membership records via the online reporting tool, act as the official contact for all club mail correspondence, share monthly report health indicators, which we will talk about a little bit more, with your club's board, and share all communication received from KI or your district as appropriate. After reviewing your position description and some of your roles and responsibilities, what qualities do you think makes for a great secretary? Do you feel like you have these qualities? Feel free to share your thoughts in the question box, or if you aren't comfortable sharing, write them down on a piece of paper just to jog your memory. Sue says you must be organized. That's very true. Tiffany says you have to be very organized and remember everything that's going on in the club. You kind of are the mastermind behind it all. Emily says a willingness to learn and grow with your club. That is very true. These are all great. As you can tell, I mean, it varies a little bit based on your club and what your club's culture is like. But all in all, being organized, attentive to detail, being flexible will greatly help. We're going to start talking about the online reporting system, but before we do, we need to talk a little bit about the terminology. Here are 8 terms that I'm going to use a lot in the next few slides that I'd like to give you some background on. So if you are a newer secretary or you're not 100% sure what I'm talking about, that we all have a better understanding. First, the member login tab. This is where you move from Kiwanis.org to the password protected reporting and club management tools. Kiwanis Connect is the login screen for Kiwanis.org. It's password protected and it's how you access the secretary dashboard. Access is limited to certain club officer positions, such as yourself, and your different levels of access will determine what features are available to you. The secretary or the club management system, after you enter your login credentials, you'll reach the club management system, which includes all of your tools for updating club and member information, as well as compiling your monthly club reports. The secretary dashboard is really the page that displays your clubs and meeting information. Announcements, any links to your most commonly used resources will all be available right there. The member admin tab is on the secretary dashboard and allows you to access and update your club roster. The annual report tab allows you to fill out and submit your club's annual report. The finances tab allows you to manage your club's financial obligation with dues and fees. And lastly, the monthly report. This is what you'll use to file and submit your monthly club report to document your club's activities and successes. And these are due on the 10th of every month. The online reporting platform allows club secretaries to streamline administrative tasks for the club, district, and for Kiwanis International. There are a lot of benefits that we hope that you'll enjoy using, like being able to do this from a computer, to compile your annual monthly reports, communicate with KI and with your district office, and automatically send reports to your leaders. We've designed this to make your job and communication easier. So let's take a deeper dive and look at how to use this. We'll start with the login. This is where you'll log into the club management system. If you have any trouble logging in, there are instructions for resetting your password or accessing help. The email address used to access your account must be unique to you and cannot be shared with another member. For example, if you and your spouse share an email address, you will not be able to share that same email address in order to log into the website. If you've never logged in before, click Set Your Password here underneath the title. It is very important, though, that the email that you submit is the email that your current club secretary has on file. If not, you won't be able to access this. Also, if your club is still using PortalBuzz, click Sign in with PortalBuzz in order to access your club's PortalBuzz account. Next, you'll use the drop-down menu to choose the position that you're representing during your online visit and click Login. For your role as club secretary, you need to choose the option that includes your club name. If you're a member of more than one club, select the club that you are the club secretary. It's important to note, though, the secretary dashboard will not be available to you until October 1st. This is a great opportunity, though, to shadow your club's current secretary to see how they file their monthly club reports and how they utilize the dashboard. Don't worry, though, All of these resources will still be available for you in October when you do file, when you do get access and start using the monthly report, and before you submit your first monthly club report in November. To get to the Secretary dashboard and other Secretary functions, you'll click on the Secretary dashboard icon on the left-hand side. If you don't see the Secretary dashboard icon after October 1st, confirm with the past club secretary that your email address is correct and that you have officially been reported as the secretary. Also, if that does not work, reach out to member services and they will help you. Eventually, you'll become very familiar with the Secretary dashboard, as this is a big part of the online reporting. This is the home screen that includes shortcuts to finding all the information and tasks that are relevant to club secretaries. Once you've clicked on the icon, this is the page you'll see. You'll also see where your club ranks within your district for net growth and percentage of growth for the Kiwanis year. You'll notice that there are 5 tabs across the top. The Secretary dashboard tab is what it will default to, and it's darkened in the background since that's the tab you're currently on. The member admin tab, where you'll be able to access those member records and add new members. The monthly report tab will allow you to file your monthly reports online. The annual report tab will allow you to file and review your club's annual reports. And the finances tab will allow you to view any open orders and print invoices. The club officers are listed on the front of your Secretary dashboard. If your club encounters a change of officers mid-year, update your club officer information using the plus sign to add or the trash can to delete. You can also use the pencil icon to edit their information. Below that, you'll see a section called sponsorships. Under the sponsorship section, you'll see any service leadership programs that your club officially sponsors listed. A green dot next to the school's name will indicate that the club's in good standing. A red dot will indicate that the club may not be in good standing or its charter has been revoked. If you see a red dot and think it should be green, please contact member services. They'll be happy to help. Also within your sponsorship areas, you'll notice the words background check. This will be next to the club advisor's name, and in accordance with the youth protection guidelines, a club advisor should have a clear background check prior to working with any youth. Make sure that all of your Kiwanis youth program club advisors have an active background check on file. Below that, you'll notice the support section. This is a fillable box where you can type in a message that will be sent directly to your district secretary. Type in your question and click submit in order to send it their way. You can also reach out. There is a chat icon, usually in the lower right-hand corner, that will get you connected with Kiwanis International. We're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about meetings. So your meeting location, date, and time. This is on the right-hand side of the Secretary dashboard. In this example, the club meets the first Tuesday of every month at the Embassy Suites North in Indianapolis, Indiana. If your club does not have a meeting location listed, click the plus sign next to add location. Or if you want to update your club's information, hit the pencil icon to edit it. If you change your meeting location, be sure to reflect that in the Secretary dashboard. This information is going to be found on the Find a Club Locator tool that garners more than 5,000 inquiries every single year. If you click Add or Update your meeting location, this screen will appear. And you'll have the option to edit edit when you meet. So we'll start with the date. You've got 2 options. Either you meet on the same day every week, or so every Monday, every Thursday, what have you, or an interval option. So in this example, the club met the first Tuesday of the month. So they select first and then they select Tuesday. If your club were to meet on the first and third week of the month, you would select first and third and then Tuesday. When adding a start time, notice there are two sets of hourly numbers. The top half is for AM, the bottom half is for PM. For example, this meeting starts at 5:30. Click on the 05 in the lower half of the hour numbers and the 30 in the minute numbers. It will show up as 5:30 in the spot above. For your meeting location, enter the name of the location, which is required, as well as the street address. Although the full address isn't required, an exact location does make your meeting easier to find for prospective members, speakers, and those coming for interclubs. Once you have finished, be sure to hit save or your progress will be lost. On the Secretary dashboard, you can also add and edit information about your club signature projects, club website, or any other social media pages that you have. If there is information listed underneath these headers that are correct or that are incorrect, a pencil icon will show up that you can click to edit your edit this information as well, which is great. One thing that's really fun about your year of service is that we hope that your club grows and that you'll have the opportunity to add lots of new members. And you'll do this by clicking on the member admin tab, and the member management page will open. Here's where you can add, edit, or delete members. You can also print a membership directory for your club as well as either an Excel document or as a PDF. Accessing the member management page is also available on the left-hand side by clicking on members. Phone numbers and addresses and email addresses will change, and so keeping your member records up to date ensures that communications and publications reach all of your members in a very timely manner. Make sure that your members check their contact information every October and do a periodic check every 3 to 6 months. To edit information, use the icons that appear on the right-hand side of a member's name. The three different icons, you have a magnifying glass to view their current information, the pencil to edit it, or the trash can to delete them from your roster. On the edit screen, you are unable to change a member's name or the club name. In order to do that, you will need to contact Kiwanis International. Any other area, though, of this page, you will be able to change. So their title, middle initial, preferred name, partner name, birth date, you name it. This is what the middle of that page looks like. You'll notice, though, the top address section is expanded, but below it, the seasonal address option is condensed. If you were to click on the checkbox next to seasonal address, it would then expand for you. Once you've completed your edits, and this is so important, scroll to the very bottom and click Save. Once again, if you don't press Save, it will not be updated. Your updates will be then added to the Kiwanis member database and shared with your district. If you don't want to save this entry and instead want to go back to the club roster, click Back to List instead. To add a new member, you'll go back to the member management page and click Add New Member, the plus sign, New Member on the top right-hand corner. In the Add screen, your club name, district, key number, and division information will automatically populate. Fill in the names, the first name and last name, and the member type, and click Continue. Though it's not required, I highly encourage you to include an email address as well. If the new member joining your club is a former member, the system will recognize that name for any matches or near matches from the member database. It's going to display those names that may be the new member. If one of those names listed is the person that you're adding to your club, select Add a Club to the right. If that name listed is not the person that you want to be added and they're not actually listed, click No Match Found, which will take you to the next page to add the new member information. If a new member's name is not found in the member database, this is the next step to add them to your club. Fill in all the available information and include an email address to ensure they receive those communications. Anything with a red asterisk is required, but you do have the option to fill in home address, business address, seasonal address, additional contact information, and more. Fill in what you can, and then, once again, press save. Once you press save, this information will be submitted to Kiwanis International, and the system will automatically create an invoice for you to print that will be available in the Finance tab. Unfortunately, we all do lose members, and when we need to delete a member for any reason, access your roster and hover your cursor over the member's name for these three icons to appear. Click the trash can icon to delete them from your roster. Once you've clicked on that icon, another dialog box will appear with a list of reasons why that member is leaving the club. Please choose the best reason for them leaving and click delete. The deletion will immediately be submitted to Kiwanis International and your district. Back to the top of the Secretary dashboard, you'll see the Monthly Report tab. Features and questions about the monthly report do adjust every month. However, a new section of annual questions has been released so that you only have to answer them once in November, and then if something does change throughout the year, you're able to change them then. We also released the new monthly report summary. This was part of the updates that came out in October of 2019. The monthly summary report shows a snapshot of your club for that month. The report data is calculated on the 11th, so any monthly report submitted after the 10th will not be reflected in this. However, it will show up the following month. You can also export this document as a PDF, share it with your board, or share it with your members. These arrows are indicators of your club's health. So anything with a red down arrow is an area of decline, where areas with green upwards arrows are areas of growth. There's also the dashes that show no change. So this is a great visual just for you to see kind of the snapshot of where things are and where they stand today in your club. Oh, let's see. There we go. A user guide for the new monthly club report is available for you to download on the Secretary dashboard under that monthly report tab. This is about 22 pages. It's full of screenshots and great information, walking you through step by step on how to do some of the things related to your monthly reports, which is great. The fourth tab is where you'll complete your club's annual report. This information will help provide a picture of your club's activities for the entire year. And not only does this provide your district with information to recognize your club's accomplishments, it also gives Kiwanis International an understanding of what our clubs are doing in our communities around the world. One thing that is super great, especially if you stay on top of your monthly reports, is that your annual club report will be automatically generated if you've completed your monthly reports. You are able to edit this. It's open from November 1st to the 15th. So if you kind of put the work in throughout the year, then you are good to go and you don't have to stress about it. If there are a few edits you do want to make here and there, you're able to do so along the way. The final option in the tabs from the tab menu at the top is Finances. Finances, or the open orders page as some like to call it, allows you to view any unpaid orders and print invoices for them so that you can either mail payment to Kiwanis International or pay online. As you can see, this club has no open orders. But if your club does have open orders, you're going to see a page very similar to this screen. Check the box to the left of the invoice you want to print, or click Check All to pay all open orders. You can click Print Invoices and Pay by Mail, and you'll be provided with mailing information, details about your order, and contact information for the correct person at Kiwanis International. And if you opt to pay by mail, make sure that you do include a copy of that paper invoice with your payment. You can also click Pay Online by Credit Card to pay online electronically, and it will walk you through step by step. Club bylaws. This is a big part of your job as well. Obviously, we have lots of bylaws that guide us in what we do as Kiwanians and how we accomplish things. And the new standard form for bylaws was last released in 2013 and is now available for online submission by the club secretary or president. Let's go over some of the important information associated with our bylaws. Everything is also listed step by step online. So if you feel like you might have missed something, don't worry. We have resources on making sure that you file these correctly if you need to. The whole idea of the new standard form for club bylaws was to help you succeed and help your club soar. So some of the highlights were that it came with greater flexibility and autonomy for clubs. It included simplified language and greater global applicability. It was more relevant to both traditional and non-traditional clubs, and allowed for customization of some club policies. Online, in the club bylaws management system, there is when you log in, there's the club bylaws section listed right below the district or the secretary dashboard that you can click on to open the club bylaws management system. Each time when you open the club bylaws management system and go to change your bylaws or amend them, it opens it in 4 easy steps to do so. So each time that you complete a step, click Save at the bottom of each page, and you'll come back to this dashboard. However, once each step is complete, a check mark will appear next to that box to show your progress and what you've completed. So we'll start with step 1, which is review instructions and the standard form. You'll click Review to begin this process. And once you've read through all of the instructions, click Finished to move to step 2. If you do not click Finished, it will not mark it as complete. Then you'll click on Customize in step 2 in order to customize your club's special policies. You'll follow the same process. Click Finish to move to step 3. Be sure to fill out all required fields, which are marked with a red asterisk. When you've completed all 4 steps, your final screen will say Status, Pending Approval. Notice that you can download a copy of your bylaws that you've just submitted. And if you need to make any additional changes while it's pending, you can unsubmit the bylaws and start your editing process again. Although some of the things that a club secretary does is considered optional or merely recommended, there are a few documents that are required by either Kiwanis International, your district, or your local government to protect your club's charter. There are 4 required forms that each club secretary needs to complete. The monthly club report is due on the 10th of every month. You also have your membership reporting for your annual dues billing. Feel free to update your club's roster throughout the year. You do have until October 10th to delete any members which you shouldn't be billed for. However, you do not need to wait until right before October 10th. If you know that you have members who are leaving your club or have left your club, you're able to remove them now. I'm going to skip the $9.90 for a second. And then your annual club report is due June 1st of every year. It is so very important that when this is submitted, that the information for your club officers is correct. That is how we got your information to join this training today. If you did not receive the information from me, either your club did not file by the deadline, your email address was listed incorrectly, or you have unsubscribed from Kiwanis Communications. Therefore, we can't contact you. So it's important to make sure that your contact information is up to date when these are filed. Going back to the 990, 990N, or 990EZ, this is a form that the IRS requires for all US clubs and needs to be filed by February 15th. This is what allows your club to remain tax exempt and to keep that status. Your club treasurer will most likely be the one that handles this and gets this submitted. But it's important that you are aware of this date too, to make sure that you meet this deadline. You can be fined, you can lose your tax exempt status, or both, for failure to comply. So the more you can stay on top of it, the better. There are also 2 optional submissions. If your club has any proposed amendments or resolutions to the bylaws, those are due October 31st for consideration of the House of Delegates for that year's international convention. So any proposed amendments or resolutions to the bylaws for the Salt Lake City convention will be due October 31st of this year. And then delegate certification forms for the Kiwanis International convention, those are due by April 30th. And your district convention also will require that, but you'll need to check with your district. You can reach out to your governor or district secretary, or check your district website to see what those deadlines are. Lastly, there are some very important dates that you need to keep track of as you plan for your year as secretary. The 10th of every month is when that monthly report is going to be due to Kiwanis International. You can submit it the 1st, the 2nd, the 7th, or the 10th. If you do miss that 10th deadline, it will still be available for you to submit after the deadline. You won't have access though to that monthly summary report though until the next month. October 1st will be your first day in office and mark when you need to approve your club's budget for the next fiscal year. October 10th is when the updated club roster for deleted members is due. Any members you add will not be retroactively applied like deletes are. Those will be reflected for the 2020-2021 Kiwanis year. October 31st is that deadline for proposed amendments and resolutions to the international bylaws. February 15th is the IRS 990 deadline. April 30th is the delegate certification form deadline for Kiwanis International Convention. And June 1st is when your annual report of club elections are due via your secretary dashboard. I realize that this was a ton of information in a very short amount of time. And so I would like to just say thank you so much for taking part in today's session. I realize this is not your traditional CLE setting in the least, but I appreciate you taking the step to make sure that you are prepared for the year ahead. I hope that you feel like you have some foundational knowledge about what's expected for you as a club secretary. In the coming weeks, you will be receiving additional information from your district regarding some secondary training opportunities. These will cover more district-specific topics and be hosted by your district. I highly encourage you to attend these trainings so you can be as prepared as possible for the year ahead. Now, I would like to introduce you all to Krista Laxall, who is the Leadership Development Coordinator from the Capital District. She is absolutely wonderful. And she and I will be hanging out here for the next 20-25 minutes or so to answer any questions that you all might have regarding what to expect next year as a club secretary. A couple questions that I did receive were, is this recorded? Yes. It will go out sometime next week, so you can watch it whenever. And then the information on how to use the dashboard and the club management system, all of these resources will be provided for you next year as you start getting your hands dirty and really get into it. So I'm going to turn it over to Krista and let her introduce herself. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them through the questions section. And we're here to help.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Krista Latchaw. Meredith has been awesome for the past, oh my gosh, day and a half so far. Ooh, she's got a couple of days to go. I am from the Capital District. I'm their Leadership Development Coordinator, which is basically means I'm an educator and I help train. So go ahead, I will try to ask you or answer as many questions as possible. So go ahead and send those in the questions box on your GoToWeb meeting. And yeah, we'll just start with that. So, and I wanted to say congratulations on becoming next year's 2020 through 2021 club secretary. So congrats, you all. All right. Looks like we have a couple of questions so far. All right. So can election results still be submitted? Yes. Go ahead, and if you haven't done that, go ahead and submit those. You can do those through the secretary dashboard. All you have to do is make sure you click the right year. So you'll drop down 2020 to 2021, and then you'll put in your president, vice president, secretary, membership committee, leader, any of those. So it has those spaces for you. All right. Let me go down to this one. How far back does the SLP alumni database go to add people that qualify for that discount? I actually don't know that answer, but I am sure that they will probably be able to find you in the database at Kiwanis International. So I think what I would probably do is call the 1-800 number, and they will be able to tell you that number. And if they have that information, I don't think that they purge that all that often. So Meredith, do you know like the actual dates?
It gets a little interesting because 9 times out of 10, our key clubbers are children. They're less than 18. So there is a lot of privacy concerns about children's data. So there's a chance when you call Kiwanis International that you will show up. There's also a chance you won't. I, for instance, did not show up in our database as being a Key Club alum. But I had my yearbook pictures to prove it. So
good call.
People are very honest about, hey, I was in Key Club, or hey, I was in Circle K. And you can get creative in how you ask them to prove that they are an SLP alum and that they were part of Key Club or Circle K to get that the waiver.
Very good.
And I have the hiccups like crazy.
So another question from Fran. She actually said, it was a good comment. There is a place where you can actually put in an assistant secretary. I don't know if you all know about that. But that is, it's someone that I like to say it's a secretary in training. So that is a really nice position. They can kind of follow the secretary for maybe a year, maybe even longer. And you can give them some of the responsibilities or delegate some of those, because as a secretary, I will tell you, it was my absolute favorite position, but it was really, there's a lot to do, and so I had to be the mastermind of making sure that I delegated down and I delegated up. So just remember that too, and use your assistant secretary if you have one. If you want to designate one, it's a good idea.
Thank you, Fran, for bringing that up. Fran's the district secretary for the Kentucky-Tennessee district, and I must have skipped over it tonight or in this presentation. But yes, it is a great opportunity as either a secretary in training. Or even if you're not the secretary in training, but you are helping your secretary out, it's a great tool to have.
This one says from Joseph, does the treasurer get training on the IRS Form 990, or is this a responsibility of the secretary? I do think that this is definitely mentioned in that treasurer's section of the leadership guide. Does it have specific instructions? I don't think so. Or does it?
Mhm.
Oh, it does.
We have
So
this awesome section in the leadership guide specifically for US clubs. Talks about your incorporation, Form 990, the Form 8976, all those IRS requirements. And we will be discussing that in the treasurer training tomorrow night.
fantastic. So we actually had to go to our local accountant and help us out, but now that it's in the Kiwanis book, that's even better. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. The leadership guide. Oh, Meredith, this is a good question for you, but I know the answer. Has the leadership guide been updated since January of last year, 2019? And the answer is yes. I don't know if you guys, Meredith probably showed you, but it looks like this now, and it is awesome. I mean, we have done a lot of stuff in our district with the big packets of information that you all got, but this leadership guide, I mean, some of the graphics are very similar to what you'll see. Ooh, there you go. In the PowerPoint, Meredith took a bunch of tables off of there, but the leadership guide, once you get it and once it's available to download, if you get it in hard copy from your district, it's a good thing. Just sit down and read for a while. I think that it's really nice. So definitely take a look at that because it has changed, and I think for the better.
Well, thanks. I did kind of mention, so this was a labor of love to get this to change because it has looked the same for so long. And one of the big goals was to make this a workbook, like something you actually wrote in and tore up and filled in the blanks, and that is still the goal. The other awesome thing about the leadership guide, it's not changing for next year. So if you're going to move up the leadership pipeline, maybe look at pursuing another role, you'll be using the same book. So keep your notes. It's a great tool to also pass on to your successor if you fill stuff out and make comments, but it's here for the long haul, at least through next year.
Good question from Gloria on here. She asked if you're on Zoom meeting now, and for how long in the future, it's still to be decided. Do you need to change your meeting location? So that's actually a really good question. I think if you have room and it lets you enter that into the secretary dashboard, it's actually not a bad idea. However, I think you could also supplement that with maybe information on maybe a Facebook page or your website, and so you make sure all that information is the same as well. And then whenever you get back to your regular location, you can definitely add that back in, because I think it also saves that previous location, so it shouldn't be too hard to add that back in as well.
I definitely agree, Krista. I would say the one thing to be careful about with posting it and updating it in the dashboard is it will change on that Find a Club tool. So when you use the Find a Club tool, make sure that you have, like if it is password protected, things like that. This is kind of like prime hunting zone for those Zoom bombers we do talk about. So from like a security standpoint, it might be easier to directly send that information to your members, or you can still say that you're meeting via Zoom, and when someone does that club inquiry, clicks the inquiry button, they'll be connected to the club and can find out what that looks like and how they can join if they want to do an interclub or visit.
Definitely. All right. Mr. Maycock asked, if I start my duty as club secretary on October 1st, what will I be reporting on October 10th? Do I get the info I need to report from my immediate past secretary? And yes, the answer is that you know what, it's probably a good idea to start working with your current club secretary and just make sure that that person is kind of a mentor to you. And you can do it, you know, the previous month. So maybe in September, you can do it a couple months beforehand if that makes you more comfortable. But it's always nice to have someone, you know, fill out that first report with you. So really do not be afraid to make sure that that information is shared between those two people in transition, and you and that other person, and then you can enter your information by the 10th of October for that previous month.
And actually, Krista, so their first report that they will have to do on their own will be due
probably
October. Isn't due until November. Yeah. But October is the monthly report due in October is for September. So it's always due, if it's always reflective of the previous month. So that October 10th report, your existing club, your current club secretary will complete. And it's a really great chance for you guys to sit down and talk about it, talk about some best practices, because it can feel very overwhelming, especially if you try to walk through that. That is a big reason why I did not go through every level of the monthly report today, because it will terrify you. And it's not as daunting, and since you don't have access to it right now, it's okay. But lean on your current club secretary, and then that resource guide is also available online. That's just about the monthly report.
All right. When will today's presentation be available and where? Actually, that presentation is going to be available probably sometime next week. So Meredith is going to send you out some information as well for that. So if you attended training, you'll definitely get some information about where to download some of this information.
Yep.
All right. And Ms. Connie has said on page 33 of the guide, the review asked, where are the files located, and who else has access to them? So very important to have a backup. This is a really good comment. One of the things as you transition, it is really important to know where all of those files are. Are they hard copy? Are they on Google? Are they somewhere else? Are they on somebody else's hard drive? So just make sure, I think it was the past 7 years, make sure you have access to some of that or all of that information for the past 7 years from the previous secretary, or even if you're missing stuff, just make sure that you either ask a president or even the previous secretary. It would be a good idea to make sure that you have that information.
Definitely. And to add on that a little bit, it is, even if you don't have a successor or an assistant, make sure that someone else in your club knows where those documents are. God forbid something were to happen, the club still needs to know where these documents are in order to continue. Unfortunately, we hear stories every year of a secretary or treasurer who is no longer with the club or doesn't have access, and a club can't access their bank account, or they can't file their correct reports or their correct filings with the IRS. Make sure that someone else has access. This is a great chance to use some of the cloud technology like iCloud or Google Drive, so that it lives somewhere. So if your hard drive's wiped, it's at least somewhere safe. But that 7-year mark is really important.
Definitely. I think this question may relate to maybe the monthly reports. So just kind of a public service announcement on some of the monthly reports. You can do it in totally different ways. People can email you some of the hours and the service projects that they're doing. If you do not know, definitely talk to your committees, because they will probably have some great information. My club actually used to just pass around a sheet at some of our meetings, and now I'm sure some of that can be done electronically as well. But just do the best you can. I think the biggest thing is that we want to know that, or KA wants to know that you're doing that service and you're providing that service for the community. And so that's what's really important. And, if you're off by 0.25 of an hour, you know what, it's going to be okay, but just try to get it as accurate as possible. All right. Let's see. Background checks. I think it was just a background check for Mr. Thomas over here. So just make sure that the way that the secretary can make sure that folks have had their background check is through that secretary dashboard. So once you put the information in for your SLPs, you will have the chance to make sure that that person that you have designated as the lead for the SLPs from your club has that background check. So I believe there's also like a little link right next to it where you can send an email to that person, and it will also give you the link information in there to run that background check or to help them do that as well.
Definitely. And I think a couple down there was another part to Thomas's question about background checks that the school district requires. That is separate from the background check Kiwanis International requires. So you do need both. We do our background checks through Safe Hiring Solutions, and some school districts do also use Safe Hiring Solutions. I know my local school district does, and so they were able to pull that, which was great, but that's not the case across the board. So make sure that you have done that you're in compliance with Kiwanis and have done that background check. And that goes for any member who works with youth, not just SLP advisors, that they have that background check, but also making sure that you are in compliance with the school district and have done their required background check policies as well.
Mm-hmm. We had another question. After your year is up, everybody's thinking for the future. That's great. But it says, Dawn has asked, who usually gets the documents after your year is up? That information generally goes to the next secretary in line. So again, as you start to transition, it would be really good to just make sure that they know where all the documentation is. It can be, again, it can be electronic. I know a lot of clubs still keep some of the paper records as well. I used to have a binder. I'm pretty organized, but I used to have an actual binder with the dividers and have all of that information back there as well. So that might be also, maybe another avenue that you might want to take for that. All right. There's one I don't know about Portal Buzz, and there's a couple of questions about that.
Lay it on me.
It says, does KI still consider Aplos a part of Portal Buzz a partner? I don't know that answer.
We are no longer partners with Portal Buzz, and this took effect about a little over 2 years ago. I've been with KI for almost 2 years, and this was phasing out when I came on board. And Portal Buzz was kind of our go-to system, and we opted to separate from them. If your club still is paying for Portal Buzz, it does still integrate with Kiwanis Connect, and you are able to use that, though that will most likely change in the future. There's not like a date today that I can say this is when Portal Buzz, like, we will cease to support it. But Kiwanis does offer free club websites that your club can take advantage of in place of Portal Buzz. And most of what you can do in Portal Buzz, you can do in Kiwanis Connect on the online reporting. You do lose the ability to message all your members and push out announcements or like weekly newsletters like you can in Portal Buzz. If your club is on the fence about not renewing their Portal Buzz membership, take this as the nudge to not renew it. Kiwanis is working on a new member dashboard experience and what that looks like, and we're about 15 months out from implementation for that. So October of 2021 is when we'll start to see that kind of come into fruition. And that will be a complete facelift. Us as staff, we're in the training for it right now to see like what this is going to look like, and it will blow everyone away. I'm so excited for it. It has so many great features, but we are still a little far out. So if you're on the fence, I would look at some free options. There's a lot of ways that you can do what you do in Portal Buzz without the cost. So right now we do have those new free websites out. Another big downside to Portal Buzz, especially now, is that since Kiwanis International is not partnered with them and we're not fully integrated anymore, we don't have the ability to help with some of the tech issues. You do have to work through Portal Buzz support to get that rectified. So sometimes you'll call in, and unfortunately we can't help because we can't access what you're doing in Portal Buzz. I did see a question that said, should I submit my election reports through Portal Buzz or through KI? Either one. Yes, Portal Buzz has the option to submit a vice president. On the Kiwanis International side, you can submit a president-elect. So you can do your president, secretary, treasurer, and president-elect. On our database, we don't actively record president-elects or vice presidents at the moment because a lot of times those do change. People move, the commitments change, and so it is up to you and your club what you think's best for right now. But when you report your main officers, your president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee chair, that does all still get communicated to Kiwanis International.
All right. There's a couple of questions about volunteer service. Mr. Hart asked this one, Richard. Are we supposed to include any volunteer service provided by individual members outside of Kiwanis projects on the monthly report? So for this one, we generally, so I think it probably differs. It might even differ by district. If we had a member, I do remember we had a member that worked as a volunteer for a hospital for about an hour a month. We actually did count that because that was service to the community. We also had that person come in and you know, someone from that organization as a presenter or a speaker to our group as well. So I would say definitely talk to your lieutenant governor because they could probably make sure that you're completing that or doing that correctly. But as a part of our club, we did. It wasn't anything extravagant, but we did count the service that members did throughout the community. Let's see. We had a comment that Portal Buzz is a good tool for large, highly active clubs, maybe a little too costly for small clubs. Good point.
I completely agree. I saw another comment saying, if you can't message all your members, why would Kiwanis get rid of it? A big part of it was support. It came at a huge cost for you guys as clubs, but it also was very expensive on our end to maintain and didn't provide all of the data and resources we needed. And it was an expensive use of member revenue, and we weren't able to support it like we had in the past. The creator of Portal Buzz actually used to be the director of IT at KI, and so that was kind of where that marriage happened. And so when Portal Buzz was created, it was able to be integrated completely into the dashboard. But once he left KI, it got a lot more difficult to try to manage some of this. And by and large, we hear far more complaints about Portal Buzz than we hear good things about it. And so knowing that we were transitioning entire dashboard systems and providers, and that Portal Buzz would not be part of that equation, that was part of the reason to separate from them. So I know it's been about 2 years in the making. We did release the online, the free club websites tool instead. And a lot of clubs have opted to take advantage of, like in Google, you can create contact lists. So you could do, like my club is, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I could create an email account, it's 5 o'clock somewhere at gmail.com, and it sends it to every member, and that's free. You can do the same thing in Outlook with contact lists, which does allow you to push things out. Some clubs opt to use Constant Contact. There is a subscription cost for that, but it is significantly lower. Listserv is also a great option that is lower cost than Portal Buzz. So there are some options, and I believe the communication to like put out an email blast to your club members, that's definitely something we will see in this new dashboard.
All right. let's see. I can't find it now, but it said, what time is our reports due? I would say if they're the 10th of the month, please just do them by the end of the day. I'm gonna say 12 o'clock.
11:59 Eastern.
There you go.
It flips that switch so fast. And it does, we do function on Eastern time. It's crazy how many reports automatically generate between about midnight and 6 a.m. while we're not in the office. So definitely 11:59 on the 10th.
Very good. Let me see. Any service projects listed on the monthly reports need to be listed in the minutes as a club project for insurance purposes, was Ms. Fran's question. I'm just a big proponent of making sure that anything that you're going to put in the monthly report, please just make sure that that makes it into the minutes. It should. You should be talking about that at either the board meetings or the club meetings. And I think, just making sure that that's documented somewhere. Again, it's probably why, it's a good idea to keep those 7 years worth of records. So all that information is stored somewhere just in case you need it. So it's probably a good idea.
Definitely agree.
Let's see. Well, Meredith, this is an interesting just comment for you, I think. When will we be able to report on co-presidents? It's an increasing trend. So maybe you can build that into one of your projects.
It's funny, I just was looking at that one as well. As of right now, I don't know of any plans to allow co-presidents to be reported. I believe right now we define a president as a single position. It's not a co-chair position. Like you can have co-membership committee chairs, you can have co-leadership development coordinators, but it's kind of like you can't have co-governors. So if that were to change, I would assume we would change the dashboard. But as of right now, I don't believe that we recognize more than one club president at a time.
All right, there's a couple of other questions about background checks. Again, if your club member is the SLP advisor, please just make sure that they get that background check. You might want to talk with your youth protection manager if there's some other issue where they're maybe designated as the liaison, but they don't necessarily go and actually have functions or talk to the kids or school age youth there. So that would probably be a good youth protection manager question.
And just to be exceptionally transparent about the background check policy, anyone who is listed as the advisor absolutely must have a background check by Kiwanis International in order to be in compliance with the youth protection guidelines. Regardless of whether or not they actually interact with the youth, they have to have one on file. There are no exceptions to that. It's just to protect children. It's $25. Also, any faculty advisors that are, they need to be able to meet the background check expectations for their school and agency, but are not required to have Kiwanis's background check. But if they are listed as the Kiwanis advisor, they are required to go through our providers. So if they are listed in your club as the advisor, so if they're a member and they act as your SLP advisor and they're the actual like key club advisor, they have to have that Kiwanis background check on file. You can go to kiwanis.org/background checks and it's all laid out there, but all SLP advisors have to have one on file in order to be in compliance. Same goes for district administrators, your chairpersons, and for your chaperones. So when in doubt, get a background check.
As the mom of 2 young kids, I actually like that idea.
And there's an entire thing on here about why you are required to get one, even if you don't interact with children. There's a section on if the Kiwanis advisor has a background check for the school system, why do they need one from Kiwanis International? Not all background checks are created equal. They all do look at different things. For example, my parents are foster parents. I have to have a federal background check. I didn't know that was a thing every year, to make sure that even though I don't live with them, but I am at their house frequently, I interact with the foster children, that everything is like in ship shape, which is very different from the Kiwanis background check or what you can have at a school. So for our children, please make sure that everyone stays in compliance. If you ever have questions, reach out to the youth protection team or member services and they'll get you in contact with the youth protection team. No question is a dumb question when it comes to youth protection. And there's a lot of reasons and legitimacy behind why we do what we do. And it is just so, so, so important that you and your club stay in compliance.
Anything special required in reporting prompted by the virus situation? It's a very good question. This club has had very erratic meeting schedule for the past 3 months or so. And I think everybody has been affected as well. I was just doing some of my, or one of my reports from a month ago or so, and just, you know what? You just report what you have done, and that's what you're doing. So everybody's dealing with the virus situation and hopefully staying safe. And, you know, again, as you're taking notes, maybe you just mention on those notes to be approved that, you know, this is a Zoom meeting or something different. Note the location, maybe something like that. Just so, again, we can look back and we can know in 2020, there's a couple months that, you know, the whole world probably stayed at home for a little bit. So just as long as you remember that.
I mean, we'll probably look at this year for years coming. The 2019-2020 Kiwanis year will have a little asterisk next to it with a note at the bottom saying, this was the year of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Because we know it's changed so much. I am talking to you from my house because we're working from home. A lot of us have been working from home for 3-4 months now, and this has kind of become our new normal. So it's great that you note it. I know like my team in particular, I'm on the special projects team. We're looking at this really closely to see what great things are coming out of the pandemic. What are our clubs doing to still exist? How are they being innovative? How are they trying something new? So people do read them, and we are really interested to hear what you have to say. So if you do something kind of cool or different, or you tried something new for your virtual meeting, let us know. We will do what we can to acknowledge it and kind of use that data to support other clubs.
And I think a couple more minutes. We're good for a couple?
We can probably do 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay, this one relates to the other. So one person has a new club with all new members, and then this the other club has a secretary that's not extremely computer proficient, but the member asked if they could help them clear out some information as well to bring them into compliance. So I think it may go hand in hand where somebody's trying something new. I would just make sure that any new clubs, I almost think it's good to contact you know, one of your other clubs or your lieutenant governor and say, you know what, I need a helper or I need a mentor, and it might not be forever, but you know, if someone can help you out and just kind of show you the ropes for a couple months. I know this is, again, it's if you have someone that might need a little bit of help and maybe just a little push in the right direction, then you might try something like that. So use your other secretaries. I see this a lot in our training sessions, that everybody in this virtual room, or everyone in the room that you're actually doing some education in, they're going to be your friends and mentors and your helpers. So definitely build your network, and I know it's probably within the clubs that you have right now. So I think Meredith, anything else?
I think that's it. If you all have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your district or reach out to me at education@kiwanis.org. If you email me, please bear with me. I've got one more session tonight and then 4 tomorrow, 4 Thursday, and 6 Saturday. So I might be a little delayed. I have about 100 emails from the first 2 sessions that I've received so far. So I will get back to you as fast as I possibly can. A fun fact about the Kiwanis Education Department, it is one person, me. So I will get back to you as fast as I can. Just bear with me, but your district's also a really great resource. I'd like to say thank you, Krista, for taking time out of your evening to be here to help us. And again, thank you to all of you guys for your help. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you feel ready and excited for this year and everything that's going to come with it. So thank you again. Have a great night. Stay safe and healthy. And we'll talk to you all very soon. Good luck next year.
Thanks all. Good luck.
See you, Krista.
Bye, guys.